Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Zubair Asghar. I recently featured on a documentary called Strictly Soulmates for BBC Three. I was on the Muslim version, funnily enough. And I watched it a bit late, about 3 weeks late, because BBC iPlayer does not work outside of the UK. Racist buggers. So I watched it somewhere, somebody sent me the DVDs from the production Raw TV office, and I looked a right crap, didn't I? Oh man. Okay, well, never mind. But then again, like in the documentary, I don't really take myself that seriously, and I don't think people should. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, you know what? A couple of times I was an idiot. I mentioned the beard in a less than positive light. So, I want to clarify that. I'm proud, alhamdulillah, that I have a beard. You know, I'm blessed by Allah, I believe, that I have the strength to keep a beard. And on top of that, I think that every Muslim man who doesn't have a beard is missing out. That's my personal opinion though, obviously. Thing is, I guess the reason why they showed that twice in the documentary was because they wanted to show other people that people who look like me are genuinely, like I said, judged all the time. Be they Muslim or non-Muslim, they see a bearded guy and they think, cross the other side of the bloody road quick. But we're not all that bad, you know, we're human beings, we have feelings, some of us are mushy on the inside, like myself. Sounds rubbish. But on top of that, what really got to me at the time was because I came back from the second marriage event, didn't I? And already judgmental eyes all over the frickin' place, you know, people were like that. It's sad how Muslims are judging other Muslims as well. It's like, what are you doing, man? We're Muslims, get on with it. Like, for example, my father was on the phone to a potential match, the mother of a potential match, and going on about how great I am. You know, he's on the phone saying things like, oh, my son, he's very religious. I mean, when he was at a hostel, he got all the boys together, they used to read congregational prayers, and they used to talk about Islam all the time. And I don't hear the other end of the conversation, right? So I'm hearing him going, oh, my son is fabulous, you know, he can pick stars out of the sky. Rubbish. And then he goes quiet for a minute, then he says, yeah, he does have a beard. And so they end the conversation there. And I said, there's another one out the window, Dad, isn't there? My dad said, let's see. And 5 minutes later, or 10, one of the two, he gets a call back from the same woman. And the woman has left a message to my father. What's the message? I'm sorry, but my father-in-law is ill. We can't make that appointment, so we're gonna have to meet at another time. I'll call you an arranged date. Okay? We never heard from them since. That was 5 years ago. So, to be fair, we're Muslims. If Muslims are doing that to themselves, we deserve to be in the mess that we're in, don't you think? Yeah, and how about that meeting in the library with the girl? Frickin' heck, I made a fool of myself, didn't I? You know, it's really weird because he's an elderly gentleman, he's my father's age, and I don't want to be leading him on. I'm waiting for him to do something for me. But obviously I have to, being, I guess, a reserved and a conservative gentleman, I had to lead it on. And I felt very rude doing that and very imposing. That's why I'm giggling to laugh off the frickin' effect and I look like a prat. Then having a conversation with the girl, it was really weird because I'm waiting for her to come in the door and she's over there waiting for me to look at her, bless her. My dumb self. Had a lovely conversation. Thanked him for letting me speak to his daughter for the first time. By the way, it wasn't that I haven't spoken to women before at all, it's just I haven't spoken to women in this context for marriage. I mean, do you think I'm good looking? Don't answer that. And then I walk backwards, don't I? Everyone's like, what the hell are you doing walking backwards? I thought, well, it's very rude to turn my back on a gentleman. That's why I took a couple of steps backwards. There's the door. I try to go out, and somebody's freaking pranked the door, so I don't know how to open it. My dumb self. Never mind. At the end of the day, you know what? Raw television production did a freaking great job. Respected our boundaries, you know, respected our faiths, and we're very impartial for everybody. Didn't discriminate on anybody, I don't think. And it was great fun working with them. And if you ever see Raw television doing a production number or offering you a place, jump on it. You know what? They were great. So you know what I think I'm going to do from that one is I'm going to start like a video diary blog. Not just about myself or my marriage thing, but about other things that I like to rant about because I like to rant. And some things that we don't talk about in a Muslim community that we need to start talking about, I honestly think. Like in the documentary, they asked me about intimacy. And it's like, what is it like to get physically related and interact with a woman and intimacy? And I turned to her and I said, you're talking about sex, right? And she chuckled and said, yeah, we're talking about sex. And I mentioned the hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, you know what? Well, he didn't say you know what. He said something like, if a man satisfies himself with his woman, and then he rolls over and leaves the woman wanting, he is a beast. So I quoted that. It's a shame they didn't put that in the documentary, but you know, I guess you can only fit so much in a documentary. And another thing I wanted to end with that is that this is a topic that I think, especially in a Western world, we need to start talking with our kids now. You know, especially at a young age, when they hear about puberty, 13, 14, 15, because they're in a freaking testosterone and, it's not sexist, never mind, a sexually charged environment over there. So if we don't start talking to our kids about it, other people will, and maybe not in a positive light. I mean, I remember when I was in year 9 before I left the country, our class was teaching us about sexual education. We're talking about alcohol and drugs, how drugs is bad for you and different types of drugs. If you're going to drink, you drink responsibly. If you're going to have a sexual life, then, you know, be in control, don't go wild like an animal. And we're only 13, 14. And you know what? Even though we're very conservative people, it doesn't mean that we stop talking about the realities of life. Because guess what? Sex is a reality. And if you don't talk about it, like I said to the kids, where else do you think they're going to talk about it? They're going to talk about it with their mates. And a lot of them are going to be non-Muslims and wait till they get to an age where they say, you know, why don't you try it? Astaghfirullah. So, you know what, this is for the parents and the parents to be out there. You better start thinking about it. Because my mom said to me once that, she said I was 13, she said I was 13, 14, and she said to me, you know what's that? Things are going to be a little different now. She gave me the whole speech about how girls can be evil, and boys are pretty much the same. But then she said to me that, you know what, there's a line in my house, and if you cross that line, you're not in my house anymore. So I think, you know what, just the final point, I'm sad they didn't put it in the documentary, that's why I'm ranting about it now, that there's something that you guys, we Muslims need to start thinking about nowadays. So, talk to you later. Assalamu alaikum.